So for FRAP or micro irradiation, so we create another interface which is on this upper right corner. If you click on this, this user interface changes. And most of the things looks exactly the same. We still have the objective and the observation method, microscope control, camera, and so on. The only thing we added to is the FRAP control and experiment here. So you still have to find your sample. Let's say just go to live, select whichever channel you want to work with, and I will just try to find adjust display, same like what we did. I will just go to Minimax and fix this. So let's say these are the cells I found. Now I want to do FRAP or micro irradiation with. And unfortunately, this kind of experiment, you have to go through something called an experiment manager. And this is a very complicated, almost like a script writing interface. And we created some basic template to start with. Again, you go to load experiment, and there's some basic FRAP. That's basically DAPI, green, and I'm not sure what Y came in, but I will start with the basic FRAP here, and we'll have some other different configuration. And click bleach. So let's just start with this one, and just load, open. And let's create a new window called a basic experiment. And right now we don't see anything, but if you look at the scrolling bar and so on, because yeah, this is all the way on the bottom. So we have to move this up. Basically, I will just move this up, and so we can see it. And so anytime you want to do complex experiment, this would be the place you can create this. What this really tells us, we are doing 162 millisecond exposure time lapse of green and red. Then we will do a FRAP in here. Then we will do 500, 600 millisecond and green and red. So if click on any of this button, it will activate what the software is designed to do. And normally in the experimental window, I will have an online navigator selected and also append time-lapse loop together. So otherwise I will create two time loops. And then we basically go down. This is what we're going to use, red and green, two camera spinning disk. And same get setting, apply setting function, which basically is controlled through there. And then our export time multi-cam channel camera 1 and camera 2. In this instance, we have two camera active. All right. So ideally, you want this two camera run at a similar speed to make life simple, easier. Right now, we have some alignment issue, but that looks not too horribly bad for some reason, right? So once we find the cell, and then we have to define our experiment, what we want to do, and camera control, blah blah. I will still leave that, and in this instance, I will just get a setting. It will apply the exposure time of 200 milliseconds to this acquisition experiment. Then we have to tell the software where our FRAP is going to be, which laser we are going to use. So we have two FRAP lasers, and one's 488, one is 405. In this instance, I probably will bleach with 488. And you can select the laser, give the laser whatever intensity, 405 or 4. It's not activate, but I will check this to 0%. There are two modes of bleaching. One is the area, another one is the spot. So we will just use the area bleaching most time we use. And in the FRAP experiment, you always need a reference image. That's where you draw your region of interest. So if I go to live stopped, and that's our window, and then I will select this region ROI tools, and the select region I want to bleach. And this tells software right now that's a 4.5 selected, which is wrong. We'll use 488. I'm not sure why. It's select 4.5. And photo bleaching, there's really three things that determine how much laser power you go into and how quickly you bleach. And one is basically the repetition, which is basically how many times you image over this area to bleach it. So each time you increase, this time will double. Basically, just a word increase. And for whatever reason, this is the total duration of bleach increase. Basically, will become 3 times of that value. The second one, of course, your laser intensity. And usually for this 488, you will use the maximum power. And third one, actually is in the FRAP module, so this called homogeneity. I can never pronounce that. But this would be, normally I would leave at the lowest value. That's the highest intensity laser power, but spend most time to bleach. If you do FRAP experiment, you need really fast bleaching. You might want to increase this to reduce that number. You do this only if you have enough laser power to do, because otherwise you have to increase the iteration, and still would be same. So let's say I do 200, the higher number, actually the lower, the shorter the bleach time. So right now I will just leave that at 20%, 20, and so now we tell the software what FRAP information we need to use, and you go to Experiment Manager, get a setting. This will read the setting from the microscope, and we are ready. But I still like to go back to here a little bit, and let's say I don't want to do 20 image before. You can still set this. I will do 5 frame before, and this will get updated. And the interval, this get changed, and that's possible. That's okay. I will just do that. Total loop duration, that's the 13 second, 14 second, right? And then I want to do the afterward. I may not want to do this 500 millionth frame. I will just do 20 just for our own sake. And again, as fast as possible, or you can just tell whatever interval you like to do. Maybe every 2 seconds or 3 seconds. By default, the minimum values input, you cannot do less than 2.03 seconds. So that will tell us we need to do 20 and 3, that would be a minute. So in order to do FRAP, so basically this is the experiment what you can do. And I'm going to change this back to green spinning disk, because in this slide, apply the setting. And the same thing, I'm going to change this to green fluorescent protein. That's basically the imaging condition. I will do 200 milliseconds. I think that's my exposure time. I forgot. And you don't want to before and after bleach the time change. And also I changed this time lapse to shorter, 5 milliseconds. And this one I will do less, 20 time point. I will maybe do 500 milliseconds. No, let's do every second. And that's enough. And there's no apply setting here. So it's very important you modify the FRAP parameter through activate this button. Otherwise it would not take it. And I'm going to take this to 488. And because we don't have 0 millisecond, we haven't drawn an area yet, so we have to go back to the reference image, which is alive. Stopped, which is this one. Oh, so we have a region of interest. We can adjust this, or just zap that area. And then this will be, you have a region of interest. When I stop this should have a time. And I will do 6, so be it, it's 6. And for FRAP experiment, you have to do something on the microscope. Physically, you have to have a safety shutter inserted and a FRAP beam splitter inserted, and also make sure the laser for FRAP are on. And when this is ready, we can just say start. And we'll take a 5 frame first, and then zap this region. And usually FRAP experiments never carry those with a low NA line like 20x anyway, so that's probably the main issue. So after FRAP experiment, you will have this 2 windows. One, it's when it's finished picture with your region of interest. That's important to save it for your reference where you bleached it. And then we have a time lapse. So long as you have this checked, then you should have just a single time lapse. And the first 5 is pre-bleaching, and the next 20 are post-bleaching. Unfortunately, we should have done this with a high NA line, and then we have FRAP data. So that's about a FRAP, and a microirradiation, basically you use different laser beam, so which you can change through this very obscure way. And that will be microirradiation. You can give amount of laser power and how many iterations you do, and perform exactly same experiment. And one thing is that the FRAP module basically has a 70-30 beam splitter. What that do is cut out almost 30% of light from your camera. So that reduces your camera performance as well as your photo bleaching, your imaging quite considerably.